Hey, it's Rob. Welcome back to Axel's Garage, where we're going to be working on this headliner. It's been a while. The headliner has been sitting in the garage, and the weather just hasn't been cooperating. We were going to actually try to set something up inside the house to do it, but we got a nice day in February. It's like 45, 50 degrees. We got the board that's been brushed off, and we got that on a table. Emily's getting the shop vac. That's all the noise you're hearing. And we are going to vacuum up any residue. There's just a little bit. We're going to make sure we got all the residue vacuumed up, and we can get our fleece out, and we can start laying out what we're doing. Alright, so we used a little scrub brush just to get any residual off. Emily went around with the shop vac. Getting this clean is going to be a key, I would assume, to a good job, because you need that glue to stick to this, not to those little crumbly padding fibers that were still left. So it feels like tacky because of the glue that was originally used at the factory that, you know, the foam had stuck to, that we kind of brushed off with the power brush and with the hand brush. And now we vacuumed it, so we got nothing loose on here. And now we can grab our fleece and lay out our fleece. Right? You want it, you want about that much in the front. So if I could come back more, you have that much, or you have more? You have more.
That's it.
You have more. Right? So we wanted to drape more over in the back, I would think, than the front, the sides. How much you got on that side? I got this much. No, that side. About the same? Yeah. Okay. In the front, we got that much. That's good. Okay. So we initially cut, like, what was it, 16 or 18 inches off the end of this piece. And this was a 3-yard piece. We cut a little bit off the end because we used that material for the sun visor. So now we laid this down, and you can see the seams, they're gonna fade away, but there's some fold seams, so that we got it kind of straight. We've got a big loop here, big loop here, big loop here. So it's fairly straight. I don't think you would notice. You could go over maybe just a touch to this side. Now, I'm sure the hardest part is going to be when we get here, where we got to make these big curves, and you don't want to really stretch it. You want to try to lay the material in there. So I think doing that end and getting a secure fit on that end is where we want to go. So let's fold it in half. Em, if you go on that side, grab this corner, and let's go straight back nice and even so it doesn't wrinkle at all. Keep going back right to the edge there, good. Like that. Good, now get your wrinkle out. Oh, wings up. Alright, so we're like that. And I think if we bring this up and lay it in like that, see what I just did?
No.
Bring it up and let it lay into the curve, and then let it hang over so it's not going across. See how it's lifting up, going across? So bring it up, and now lay it down with your hand into the curve. There you go. No, you pulled it tight. You got to get it up. Lift it up. You know, you got to get the whole thing. No, you're stretching. You don't want to stretch it much. That's why you want to bring the whole thing up. Right? And then bring it back so it's laid in the curve like that. See how it's laid in the curve now? Mm-hmm. Alright, so we got here. I'm going to think we should do like here to here, do that section, and then do here to the edge, so that it's in more manageable sections to work. So I'm going to make a mark with a Sharpie, about half of it, here. So we want to go from here. So we're using 3M Super 77 adhesive. I'll link it in the description below. Alright, I've been told not to use the other 3M adhesives. The 90, don't use the Scotch. Don't use hobby adhesive. They said 3M Super 77. It's a multi-purpose adhesive. They said this is the one to use. We're just going to take this paper towel and I'm going to put it the paper towel under where the hole is here, just so we don't get adhesive on our table. Alright, so we can shake this up pretty good. And then what I'm going to do is here's my green line, I'm going to go straight across, I'm going to spray the adhesive on, and then I'm going to go about that far on this. I guess we should get a tape measure, the tape measure right inside. Right about 20 inches. So we're going to go right about 20 inches here as well. I'm going to put a little mark on this side, just so I know where that 20 inches is. Come on, shake it like you care. This is for your car.
I am.
Help is hard to find these days. Good help. It's your car. You should be excited about this.
I am.
All right, so
I'll be more excited when I get my license.
we got our adhesive. Go to the house.
Gunner, come.
And here's our mark, so I'm gonna liberally spray the adhesive. And then I'm gonna go back over, going in the opposite direction. Don't be afraid to use the adhesive. Not like I've ever done this before, but from everything I've watched and seen, people tend to try to save the adhesive and try to stretch it as much as they can. And from what I understand, that's probably the worst thing you could do. Alright, when you're satisfied that this has got a good coating of the adhesive, come around to the other side, and we're going to get this side done. Now I got to go 20 inches, so I'm going to start just doing the fabric right to the middle. Now this fleece, for whatever reason, only has, you gotta, Emily, go back over there and fix that. You're not touching anything. Only has the pattern on one side, so it's a little hard to see where the glue is. All right. Emily, you go on that side. Oh, we gotta wait.
Why?
Yeah. All right, so you gotta wait about 10 minutes standing in front of the camera. Make a better door than a window. All right, so after you get it, the adhesive on, and you're confident that everything is covered, you gotta wait about 10 minutes for it to get tack up. So it's like using contact cement where the two sides dry. So what I'm gonna do is grab the tape measure there.
That way inside, it's cold.
I'm going to put this can right here, and I'll go down that side. And I'm going to put the tape measure right here so that the wind doesn't blow anything back over while it sets up a little bit. I don't know if I put the adhesive on too thick or not, but I got a nice coating. Seems to be pretty good. Got it there. A little heavier there where you can see the white, but let's see what happens. Hopefully it didn't go through the fleece too much. All right, so now what we have is glue here and glue here. When those glues meet, they're sticking together. All right, it's been about 10 minutes and it's dried, so we want to take this and we want to lift this up, but we don't want to flap this onto here because we need to put one hand under, Emily. All right, roll it down like I did. Roll it down like I did a little bit.
Grab lower. No.
No, the other way.
The other
I
way.
got it.
All right, you can see it's sort of yellow where the glue is. Now you want to take your other hand, so hold it with that hand. Take this hand and just start to smooth it from the middle in. Don't stretch it in, just lay it in. Right? Don't let it wrinkle. You just want to hold that up. Just hold that up. Hold it. 2 hands.
Okay.
Hold that up so it doesn't
Yeah,
go
I
on
like
there.
holding it
Okay.
up.
Let it down just a little bit. Good, good, stop.
Emily, you want to switch? So.
Yeah, switch over.
Yes, I would.
You gotta
always
smooth
say
it up here from the middle. So you got a wrinkle. You gotta come from the middle. Smooth it up that edge. All right, now you can lay this part once you pass the glue. No, we didn't glue that far.
Oh, I didn't.
All right, so now lay that down. So that's past the glue. And we really don't know where the glue ends back this way. So just make it all, make sure it's in the curve. Anywhere where you feel like a curve, you gotta make sure it's in there good.
Who's not on this side?
No, it didn't go back that far. We were about here forward. All right, just here is a big thing. In this section, this is where the curve is. And around the light. Okay, now we can take this, Steve-O, grab it on the edge, right? And we're gonna bring it back nice and slowly until it's starting to grab a little. A little more.
Mine's right here.
A little more.
I'm ripping it up.
Good. All right, we're there. So now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to glue this, let it sit 10 minutes, and then flap it back over. I think I used too much glue on that first section because we already ran out on a whole can, and most people say it takes about a can to do it, have 2 just in case, and I'm already into my second can, so I think I put the glue on completely too heavy. So as we do the back sections, I'll try to have a little less glue. I think I have another like half can of that. I hope so. But we'll see if we can make it with the 2 cans. So we're gonna let it sit now for another 10 minutes and put it on the front part. Try not to stretch it. Let it lay in. If you stretch it, that becomes like a natural pull point.
And then we'll go graphics. Looks green.
It does. I think it's like sort of like tattoo ink, you know. It's black, but it actually looks green a little bit. All right. I'm gonna pull this back. Don't pull on my side. There we go. Good. All right. So we got to pull back, and now we're gonna go. We'll go right up this lip.
Yeah.
10 more minutes. Pull it. Pull a little more. Okay. go over your whole side.
We should put this in my car. Then it's the shaggy. If this goes in my car, it's the shaggy.
Well, you can pick your own fleece. Flap it back.
There's not any good like ones I like really.
Steven, there's 7 million of them.
I know, but I don't like too much is too much sometimes.
Yeah, but you pick a mild one. They had plaid. That's good.
Plaid's too much.
Ten more minutes.
Around this circle.
That's right. That's it.
You good?
Yeah.
No show.
All right. Now's the time that you have to really go over every inch with your hands and make sure you're pressing it down against the backing board while the glue is still tacky, because if you got any spot that's not pressed against that board, once that glue dries and it presses against the board, it's not going to stick. So they claim, from watching tons of videos, that these are one of the more difficult ones to do because of those curves back there. That a lot of the other vehicles that you might want to do it on that have a less curvy board, some of the boards are actually pretty straight and square, that are much easier. So of course, you know, having your first one be one of the hardest ones, make everything else easier, right? All right, I'm gonna let this set up for about 20 minutes or so, and then we're gonna flip it over because we gotta take these ends, we gotta trim them. We gotta trim them, and then we're gonna glue them wrapped around, which isn't how it normally would be, like from the factory, but you do that wrapped around this way, you don't get any peeling on the edges. And what I'm gonna do here is I'll work on this section first, and I am going to cut, probably leaving about 2 inches or so. The fleece is easier to cut with a scissor than it is going with a razor blade. If you were using like a headliner material, from what I understand, the razor blade works real good on headliner material, but it doesn't work so good on the fleece. So I'm going to cut a diagonal, and I'm going to leave it about 1/4 of an inch or so before it gets to the board. I'll do that on both sides. All right, now I have this fleece that's going to go back over, and we do have some holes here, and I am not that concerned, but what you could do is you could pull it up and clip it right where the hole is. So when you're putting it in, you can stretch it around the hole. And then you don't have to worry about poking through 2 layers of fleece with the Christmas tree clips that go in like that. So I'll take some adhesive, and I'm going to spray a little bit of this and this That's about the end of the second can of adhesive, and then I'm just going to start in the middle. I'm going to put that one there, put that one there, and the rest of this can go right over nice. That's going to stick fine. This one, bring it right around the hole, and then over here where I made that cut, I can trim it out a little bit and bring it right in like that. And any wrinkle like this you could just trim right off. Hopefully I'm on camera with that. And I got this one to do. Alright, and for the front, I'm going to do the same thing. About 2 inches. And then flap it over and glue it. Alright, so while that glue's setting up, because I'm tired of getting my hands dirty, this one here, if you grab in and give it a little poke, try to cut with the scissor. That's not working. Just want to get a little slit started, and I'm going to cut an X in it. Cut an X. I'm going to leave the fabric pieces like that. And what we'll do is we're going to spray the fabric pieces and where they're going to flap over on. And when that sets up, we'll flap them over and it'll make the hole. We're going to do the same thing in the back here where the speaker holes are. Alright, so with these two holes cut open, let me show you what I got here. Go, I got an X cut in these two holes. I'm going to hit the headliner fabric and the area around the speaker with the adhesive. Let that set up, and then I just got this last one to do, and the same thing with this one. I'm going to cut an X in it. That, and the same thing. All right, well that sets up. I'll go down this end. And I'm going to wrap the headliner over. All right, so that front piece is done. Now I can take this, flip it in. All right, so now that all the big openings are cut in an X and flapped back and glued, it's all going to set up. You could probably let it set up for about 20 minutes or so and you get to install it. I'm going to let it go because it's getting dark, as you can tell. I'm going to let it go overnight, and tomorrow we're going to install it in the car. Now all the little small openings, I'm going to use an awl to get in there, just to make a little hole in the fabric so the screw can go through. Anything a little bit bigger, I'm going to go with a little razor blade or maybe the tips of a sharp 6 o'clock. A lot of guys like to comment what that is, 6 o'clock. So, 6 o'clock getting dark, and we'll make all those little penetrations when we're installing it with a razor blade or the tips of a sharp screwdriver. So we'll continue along with this tomorrow, as long as the weather's good and it doesn't rain on me again. We'll see.